Getting your next belt in jiu-jitsu is probably the most subjective thing of the entire jiu-jitsu world.
Kaio's values for each belt is going to be way different than, say, an example, maybe Dave's, or even mine, or Kim, or Yuri, or Vitor. Everyone has different standards, and because everyone's in different points in their lives.
Are you going to give that super athletic white belt dude that's smashing everybody because he's a D1 wrestler his blue belt in 2 weeks versus the guy that's been there for a year consistently that may have like a fraction of this guy's athletic ability? I think that's where the subjectivity of the promotion kind of comes in. There really is no right answer. It really depends on your academy and your instructor and yourself and how hard you're willing to work for it. But I think at the end of the day, if you work hard, if you're consistent and you're positive, you shouldn't have a problem getting your next belt.
The one thing I can say at the end of the day that is very, very set along the line from professor to professor is that it doesn't matter what your jiu-jitsu is, you have to be a good person. Essentially, what a professor considers when they bring someone to the next level, to the next belt, is their students are reflections of themselves. And so, however a professor sees themselves and what standards that they hold themselves to, that's what they're going to hold their students to. Okay, is this person a hard worker? Is this someone who's going to commit to this goal? Is this someone who is loyal to their team or loyal to themselves, loyal to their family? Is this someone who I can proudly give this belt and say, you know what, they represent not only my jiu-jitsu, but they also represent who I am as a character? And that's where that subjectivity comes in, because not everyone has the same values. There's some people who could even care less about you being a good person, or who care less about if your jiu-jitsu is good for as long as you're paying a fee.
One thing I would suggest is don't ever ask for the belt, because it's something that's very special in jiu-jitsu. It's something that is given to you from your instructor because he believes in you, he believes in your technique. I think that if you were in a situation where you said, oh, hey, what about my next belt? And your instructor was like, oh, okay, well, here you go. There's your next belt. You wouldn't really want it, right? It wouldn't be very special. I think competition as a white belt is incredibly important because, one, it's terrifying. It's putting yourself in really bad positions. It's putting yourself out there. It's very stressful. It can be a very, challenging thing, but it's incredibly rewarding. And I think that testing yourself against other white belts and other people is an important part to your growth in jiu-jitsu, especially in the beginning.
My number one answer to anyone who is looking or making it a goal to make it to the next level, make it to their next belt, is to not worry about getting to the next belt. And that's the most true and honest answer I can give. And the reason why I say this is that the more that you just focus on that singular goal, the less that you focus on everything else around you, right? You don't show up to class, whether it be 2 times a week or 3 times a week or 2 to 3 times a day for a piece of cloth. The more that you just focus on that one thing, everything else gets lost, and then you lose, I guess, the focus, or you lose what it means to be at the next belt level, or even to be at the belt level that you are, right? Because it's all about progressing, and it's all about learning. And if you think, oh, if I just learn this one thing, it's going to get me closer to the next belt, it's always going to be out of reach, right? And it's not only that you block yourself from learning, and you block yourself, or you put this pressure, this expectation of yourself that this is what I'm supposed to know. And then it's not even about the belt anymore. Like, you're just so focused on all these little things, and it gets further and further away from you.
Demonstrating to your instructor that you have focus in training. Demonstrating to your instructor that you're not just a freaking spaz, and you're not just some guy that's just trying to rip everyone's head off every time, but you're really trying to put into account what you're learning and applying that to your training.
Focus on coming to class every single day. Focus on making yourself better than the day before. And then the belt happens naturally.
Just train as much as you can, make the time to do it. Make it count. Make it where it's in your schedule, and you've arranged your daycare, and you've arranged your time off, if it's important to you. Show your instructor, show your training partners that you're serious about jiu-jitsu, and you're serious about it not because of necessarily getting a belt, but because it's good for you, and because it's something that brings you joy, and it's because it's something that you found a passion for, and it's something that can improve your life and improve the people around you. So that would be my advice.
If you're just focusing on just getting better on yourself, the belt comes along naturally.
You'd be the laugh track.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes!
Right?
The laugh track! I edited that part out. Let's keep going.
Don't focus on the belt. Just focus on learning and focus on the journey.